So welcome to the expo and welcome to today. I want to ask you guys a couple things. Oh, let me just introduce myself. My name is Lori Ann Spagna. My website is lorispagna.com. And we are here for, what are we here for? Fifth dimensional living. Living in 5D? Yep. Exiting the matrix. You guys understand this? Who understands this concept?
I have
From a concept. You have no idea about it. Okay, that's okay. So let me give you a heads up, and then I will introduce myself a little more thoroughly. This stuff is very advanced. This is not newbie stuff. But if you're a newbie, it's fine. Just don't try to follow it all. Just let yourself receive it. Because what I'm really offering you here today is a frequency of information that is available energetically to you. And your only job, come on in, you guys come have a seat. Your only job is really to allow yourself to, it's so esoteric, the words, but vibe into the information, and it will become part of your knowing. So even as you're just listening, even if it doesn't all make sense, it won't all make sense. Some of it will sound really out there. But just allow yourself to just kind of surrender to the energy of the information. And what will happen is in the following days and weeks and perhaps even months, somehow you will be forever transformed because it's an energetic process. It's a vibrational frequency that I'm offering you. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so hello, come on in. So let me reintroduce myself. Again, my name is Lori Spagna, and my assistant here, amazing assistant Stephanie, is going to pass around the board here that lets you fill out your name and your email address. And when you do, you will get the following free gifts. You will get a class on learning animal communication and telepathy, because I teach that. You will get a class on developing your intuition. You will get a class on activating and awakening your DNA. Anyone understand this about the DNA?
Yes.
Yeah? You will get a class on energy healing, vibrational energy healing, and a lot of other great, free, rich, juicy stuff, including a Juicy Living ebook, which is just really inspirational quotes and stuff. But we need your email address in order to gift you all of that. And we need to be able to read it with your name. So, Stephanie, you want to pass that around? Yep. You can start doing that now, and I'll try to stay in range here.
I'm already on your email, so I'll still get that. Thank you.
As long as you put your name on the email, you will get the gifts. As long as we have
I've
it.
already got you. I'm already on your email.
Did you already get the gifts?
Last year. So do I need to?
If you want the gifts, you need to give us your
Okay,
email.
that's what I want.
All right, so let me give you a little 5-minute story on my background so you can understand where this information is coming from. And I will reaffirm it's pretty out there, it's pretty radical, especially for the Florida crowd. So about 10 years ago, because most of my crowd is usually New York, LA, they're really, super progressive, but Florida's starting to wake up now, really, in a big way. So about 10 years ago, I was living in Florida after my brother, hello, come on in, after my brother transitioned from the physical form, and from the non-physical realm, my brother started speaking to me. This is over 10 years ago. Wake up, Lori, it's time for you to wake up. You have to change your course. If you keep going down this path, you're gonna end up pretty much dead like I am. And he would call himself, it's your dead brother, Jeff. He would be laughing because he's such a comedian, and it was funny to him that people thought of him as dead. We thought of him as dead. He was saying, I'm not dead. There's no death. So this became the initiation for me of a major transformational period in my life, at which point, hello, come on in. We just started, at which point I packed up and I moved. I quit my job. I left New York, where I was living, or LA at the time, and I moved to Maui. And I spent 2 years in Maui going through what I call a radical transformation. I had an abduction experience, which is really an induction, because it was very benevolent, and it was really about me reuniting with what I call my star family. We would call them, what would we call them? Here.
We would call aliens.
Aliens, extraterrestrials, right? But when they're really benevolent and they're here supporting and assisting humanity, we typically refer to them as star family races. Why? Because they actually are our family races, but we haven't known that. So I had this induction experience. I had a lot of major energy shifts going on for me. There was a lot of activating and awakening what was within me, lying dormant up until that time, so that I could then step forward in this physical body, which I always had. I was always an earthling, but to know myself as a star, a member of the star family race, is here to assist humanity as we go through this radical shift where we're shifting out of what I call third dimension and into fifth dimension. That's what we're going to talk about today. But so that was the initiation for me, the brother's death, the induction, and also what happened was I, during that time, was working with animals because I loved them. That was my whole thing. I wanted to be of service to animals on a global scale, and they started talking to me to help me wake up, yeah? So they would say things like, you listen to me and I will teach you. So I started listening, tuning in, and ultimately at the end of that really 10-year cycle, that's when I started just birthing through this content that I'm going to share with you today. Make sense? Okay, so everybody on board with that? All right, so let's talk about third dimension and let's talk about fifth dimension. Who understands this concept, third dimensional reality? Yes? Okay. So third dimensional reality is our entire existence as we know it. How's that board going? How's that clipboard going? Oh, okay. It's okay, as long as you're with it. So third dimensional reality is our existence that we know it right now. So let me talk about some things that happen in 3D. What happens in 3D? Let's talk about some things that everyone experiences in 3D. We have things like mass shootings in 3D. We have things like sickness. That's kind of normal in 3D. People, animals, they get sick, right? And you don't really know how they get sick or why it happens, right? You're sort of like a victim of the sickness, right? Doesn't that happen in 3D, in our reality? In 3D, we have things like aging. That's normal in 3D, right? In 3D, we have things like outer authorities. This is a big one in 3D. Outer authorities who basically dictate and control and tell us what we need to do. And we believe in 3D, we believe that we're part of the system because we do things like vote, and we do things like petitions, we sign petitions, but really there's outer authorities controlling, right? Can we agree with that? I mean, there's police officers who basically, if you don't listen to what they say, they could pull a gun on you, right? Or if you don't listen to what the government says, you could go to jail, or you could be fined. So there are consequences, right? That's part of third dimensional reality. And actually, if we look at third dimensional reality, there's a lot of pain. There's a lot of sadness. There's a lot of suffering. We can see that, right, in our reality. Everyone with me? Okay. So the idea of what's going on right now is to elevate all of humanity, everybody, plants, minerals, and animals, out of this frequency of what we call the third dimensional reality and into fifth dimensional reality. Now this plan for humanity has been in existence since the beginning of our earthly experience, which we could go back at least 26,000 years. We could count that, but echelons of time, eons of time. So the idea is to get us out of this third dimensional reality where there's pain and suffering. And what is in third dimensional reality? What is the primary, does anyone know what the primary energy is that exists in this reality? Fear. Yeah, because if you don't do this, you could get this. If you don't go to your doctor, you could get breast cancer. If you don't pay your taxes, you could get fined or put in jail. There's a big threat on that, a lot of threat. If you don't do this, this bad thing can happen to you, right? If you don't get a weekly checkup or a monthly checkup, you could get cavities. If you don't brush your teeth, etc., right? There's fear. Everything in that reality is fear-based. It's an energetic frequency that vibrates in harmony with fear. Worry. What are some of the other energies that vibrate in harmony with fear? Anxiety. Go ahead, you guys know this. Frustration.
Jealousy, anger.
Jealousy. Yeah, all those things. And those are normal experiences here. In fact, it's normal here that there's war. It's normal here. One of the big normal things that happens here in 3D is what I call divide and conquer. What's an example of divide and conquer?
War, I guess.
Yeah, war. What about even the Olympics in a way? United States against Russia,
Yeah.
divide and conquer. What about Democrat, Republican? Divide and conquer. One country, another country, divide and conquer. His family, her family,
Yankees, Red Sox.
divide and conquer. That is a major theme here because it's not about the primary energy in 5D, which we're going to talk about in a moment. That's where we all want to go. That's where we all want to get to.
Why do we skip 4D?
Because it's the bridge. I won't skip
Okay.
it. I promise. Thank you. But I really want you guys to get an understanding of what goes on in 3D because we've been living it. And we haven't been conscious, really, as a planet, as a collective, of this reality. We've just been assuming this is all normal. It's normal to get sick. It's normal to have war. It's normal to have mass shootings. That's like part of our reality. It's normal to be threatened that if you don't give someone your hard-earned money that pays for some kind of war, that's normal. So we've been living like that and accepting it, and this is not to put anyone down or judge ourselves. It's just the experience that we signed up for. And we also collectively all agreed that this experience would come to an end right around 2012 and beyond. That's where we are now. So we're bringing this to an end, but the way we bring it to an end is not by signing more petitions, fighting more wars, picketing, because that doesn't work. That's the old paradigm. That's the third dimensional paradigm. Everyone with me here? Making sense? The new paradigm, 5D, requires us to anchor into a new frequency. So this divide and conquer mentality has to be completely transformed to what mentality? What is the primary mentality in 5D?
Love.
That's the primary vibration, love. Yes. What is it?
Unity.
Unity. Unity consciousness. Because over here in 5D, we start realizing there is nothing and no one that is not connected. And therefore, this vibration of fear must be completely transformed so we can all, unity, live in a frequency of love. And those vibrational energies that are in harmony with love. What are the vibrational energies that are in harmony with love?
Joy.
Joy. Yes. Freedom.
Compassion.
Compassion. Peace. Harmony. Kindness. Understanding. Forgiveness. Those are all vibrational frequencies that are in harmony with love. So in order for us to anchor into 5D, and I'm going to talk more about what that is, we have to anchor that frequency of love into our bodies, into our entire consciousness, which is way more than just a physical form. We already know we're all spiritual beings in a body. And we anchor those vibrations, and actually what happens here, think about the frequency of love or peace. Even if you just let yourself for an instant, just feel some peace in your body. Just feel peace and just feel some love, right? You can feel it, right, in your body. If you allow yourself to just kind of surrender to the way that feels, you understand in that frequency, if it's vibrating through your entire being, mental, emotional, energetic, physical, in this frequency, these frequencies are not compatible. They're not harmonious. Make sense? So therefore, when you're vibrating in harmony with all of this in the fifth dimension, you cannot experience in your personal reality, you can't experience sickness. You really can't. In fact, you can't really experience any kind of war or fighting. You can't really personally experience any kind of theft you will never be stolen from, because these energies here, they're vibrating in harmony with integrity. They're aligned with source, the divine source of consciousness, conscious creation of love. So you cannot have theft. It doesn't exist here in your reality. It exists here. You can still see it. You can know that other people are experiencing it because they haven't vibed into this yet. But you 100% know when you're really anchored in here, that's not going to happen to you. And you actually start to realize you have a great effect on those you love and on others beyond, even beyond who you know. Because you're holding an energetic frequency that allows you to be so strong in your foundation of love that you can now use it in service to the greater good. That's another major energy here in 5D, service. Service to the greater good with harm to none. Make sense? Everyone with me?
Yes.
All right, so the objective, I haven't forgotten the 4D question, is for us all of humanity to get here. This does not mean we drop our bodies, but it does mean we have more light in our bodies. Because this is the lighter energy, right? And it's literally light, like the sun is light that awakens aspects of us so we can anchor in here, right? Make sense? Okay, I'm going to come back to 4D. The other key thing to understand is that over here in 3D, what is the primary way we function? It's like a little bit of a trick question, but not at all.
Thinking, the mind.
Yes, thinking. Where does that happen from? The left brain. So here, it's always thinking. Your energy is happening like electric, and this is energy, electric energy here. Electric energy. Do you ever see electricity in a thunderstorm? Of course, we live in Florida. So that electrical energy is just like, lightning bolts, thinking, right? But over here in 5D, we energetically anchor somewhere else. What's the primary mode of operation? The heart, which is magnetic. So magnetism that comes in and through the heart center anchors us into this. We stop overthinking. Hello. We stop overthinking, overanalyzing, and we just surrender to the love in the heart center, the love and the compassion. Even if we don't understand something, we're like, wow, this is too much mental masturbation going on here. I got to just take some breaths, surrender into my heart, connect in with my heart center, and just re-anchor in love and peace. That's how we operate here. Make sense? How's this sounding to everyone? Anyone have any questions so far? Okay. So let's go to 4D. What's 4D? The astral plane is part of fourth dimension. Let me ask you guys a question. Where do your thoughts come from?
Subconscious.
Yeah, they come from your subconscious. Where do they come from? Underneath that. Where do thoughts start? Where do they begin? Where do thoughts go? Okay, thoughts exist on the fourth dimensional plane. It's a non-physical realm of all kinds of things going on that are not part of this physical experience. Because here in 3D, what we're basically dealing with is physicality. We have physical bodies. We believe this chair is real and physical and solid. The table is solid. Light is real. If we can't see it, touch it, taste it, feel it, it doesn't exist in 3D. Right? This stuff where we are is woo-woo. It's not real, right? Everybody at these expos, they think it's woo-woo if they're new to it. Right? You with me? But actually, that's all 4D stuff. Chakras, energy centers, that's all woo-woo stuff. And yet, it's real. Where do your emotions come from? Science can't trace where a thought begins or where a thought ends. Science can't trace your emotions. They can't find a beginning or an ending to an emotion. Where does that exist? It exists in a fourth dimensional realm. So when we're having those experiences of thinking and feeling, emotional activity, when we're connecting, who here has connected with their own angels? Good. Who here is connected with your guides? Anyone into shamanism? Connecting with Mother Earth, Father Sun, the wind, the brother air? Yeah? Okay. That is an aspect of consciousness, but exists in fourth dimensional realm. Anyone connected with quote unquote dead people? Friends, loved ones who have crossed over? Where do you think they exist? They're non-physical, but they're still alive. They're hanging out. They don't really live in the fourth dimension. Think of the fourth dimension as a major superhighway in a way, or what's a better, Grand Central Station. You kind of come through, you pass through. It's not a physical realm. It's not where you'd live, but you can move through it. So when we're connecting with loved ones who have crossed over, we're accessing through a fourth dimensional reality where that realm of consciousness exists. Now, if you're in third dimension and you think it's all woo-woo and you don't believe it, you will never be able to access 4D. You can't. That's why people who don't believe don't know, because they haven't even tried. Ask people who don't believe. Hello, come on in. People who don't believe, I can assure you, have not really tried. Not open-minded, not with open mind or open heart, not with genuine inquiry. Could it be real? Could it be true? Even if they do, a lot of times it's prove it. You know that energy, right? Prove it to me. Well, the divine does not have to prove anything to anyone. Doesn't have a need to prove. When someone has that, I've had people try to ask me, like, prove me how psychic you are. It's like, I really don't need to do that for you. That's not my game. That's not what I'm here for. So anyway, that's 4D. We understand this? Angels come in here, loved ones who've been crossed over, animals. Who's an animal lover in here? Yeah, my journey on this path really really was rooted in my love for animals. I wanted to be of service to animals on a global scale. That was my mantra. So I understood when animals had crossed over. I could hear animals. I received their messages. I understood it. It's coming on a non-physical realm. Telepathy is a non-physical exchange brain to brain, right? If I'm communicating with an animal in a two-way dialogue, I've learned how to access an aspect of my brain, open up parts of my brain in the physical form, access a frequency of information known as a theta brainwave, which is a frequency, can be measured in hertz, right? We can have a two-way dialogue with another living being. Make sense? That's 4D. You're doing it in a non-physical way. There's no way to prove it with physical substance. So 3D people have no idea it exists. The way to get to 5D is you have to what? You have to go through 4D. You have to open up to spiritual concepts. You have to open up to this concept that there is something beyond this little box of physical reality. If you're not open to it, you don't get out of 3D. You get to cycle and repeat. Cycle and repeat. I'm going to give you a good example of cycling and repeating. What is TSA? You go through a machine, you go through a conveyor belt. You have to strip off all your clothes, basically, all your items, give them to someone who has the right to take them from you. You have to go through a machine and basically let yourself be scanned, for the most part stripped, energetically invaded. People don't understand how bad these machines are.
Yeah, they're bad.
Okay, what is that? What is the cycle and repeat that we're doing?
Allowing it.
Can you hark this back to Hitler days? Can you see that overlap? I know, it's hard. It's a stretch. It's a stretch. This is why we have to rise to a higher level of consciousness, because we don't see the cycle repeating over and over and over again here. So we get the lesson. We don't see how our cycle of existence repeats over and over and over here until we eventually somehow open up that there must be something else. That's when we start shifting into 4D. Sometimes it takes a death of a loved one, an animal, a most beloved family member. That opens us up to 5D. Sometimes we have those hit the floor moments, dark night of the soul. You guys have heard that terminology, right? We've all had our hit the floor moments where you're on the floor and you're like, not another moment like this, right? Anyone, I mean, if you're in here, chances are you've had something like that. Okay, so that's what opens us up to explore other realms, other possibilities. We start navigating through 4D. We start thinking, interesting, this is an interesting kind of, what's going on here? Whoa, synchronicities. Oh my God, did I really see that flash at him? Right? Okay, after that, as we continue to play in that realm of the non-physical, we open up our chakra centers, we start praying more, we open to the divine, we have more light come through us, more awakenings, more awarenesses, more epiphanies. We start opening, what's this, the third eye?
Yeah.
What is really the third eye in 3D that they don't know? Yes! Yes, pineal gland, pituitary gland, real master glands. What shuts them down, by the way?
Fluoride.
Fluoride. What else? I gotta stop bringing this up because everybody knows it now.
Yeah.
Genetically modified foods, thank you Monsanto. That stuff exists over here and people don't know about it, right? People think fluoride in the water actually cleans your teeth. That's a lie. By the way, discovered in the days of Hitler, right? Do we know that in this room? That is part of conspiracy. Conspiracy actually does exist. It's not a lie, it's not a theory. It keeps people in 3D because in this reality, outer authorities want to maintain control. They're already playing in 4D. They can't access really 5D. They can't anchor in here, but they have access and they're using these tools to keep people suppressed, right? Fluoride is an example. Keeps your pineal gland, your pituitary gland shut down. You can't open up your psychic gifts. Genetically modified foods. Anyone familiar with chemtrails in the sky? That concept exists here in 3D. Over here in 5D, really, you don't see them as much. You'd be amazed. I'll explain that better. But okay, everyone with me? Any questions? Is this helpful for you guys so far? Okay. I didn't keep my clock out so I can just keep track of my time so that I don't, I just want to make sure I'm keeping on time. Okay, good. So, okay, where am I here? Now, all right, so 5D. Let's talk about 5D because this is where we all want to go, right? Because over in fifth dimensional reality, what we're really talking about is everybody is happy and fulfilled. Everybody's needs are met. everybody's living on a, in a reality where we're all waking up. Is anyone concerned about the future of Earth right now? Future of our humanity? Yeah. What made you concerned specifically?
I mean, just so many things.
Yeah.
I don't know where to start.
Okay. But can I explain? In 3D, that's fear programming. And I'm not telling you not to be concerned. What I'm suggesting is it's a fear-based energy. And what I'm also suggesting is that as you anchor into 5D, you start to realize, that's just a dimension of reality. It's not the totality. In fact, everyone anchored in here is having a totally different experience. So, does this make sense? Think about it this way. Do we understand the concept of dimensions of reality? Dimensions of reality is we're overlapping in our experience, but I'm in one dimension of reality and someone else is in another dimension just simply based on vibration. Because if my vibration is a frequency of love, my dimension of reality is going to show me and reveal to me all kinds of things that are based in love. Excitement, joy, optimism. The whole planet is waking up. But if I'm in a frequency of fear or anxiety, even though we can collaborate, we can meet in rooms because there's an opportunity for anyone here to wake up right now, this person's having a totally different experience. That's a separate dimension of reality. We call that a personal timeline. Do you understand this concept? Personal timeline. You're having a personal experience based on your level of consciousness, your frequency, your vibration. That vibration is going to reveal to you, if it's based in fear in some way, something to be afraid of, something to be worried about. There's no wrongness here. It's just we're waking up. So we personally have to take responsibility to shift, change, vibrate, and re-anchor into love. Make sense? Because over here in 5D, I can 100% guarantee you, 100%, the future of Earth is good. The future of Earth is based on unity consciousness. Each and every person, animal, plant, and mineral, including Mother Earth herself, is waking up. Our future is a spiritual playground for all beings, where everyone is going to be aligned with unity consciousness, peace, love, harmony, and the greater good of all beings concerned with harm to none. I can guarantee it. But you can only see that from here. You can only really know it from here. But we all can get here. I'm not saying no one's, it's not exclusive. It's an everyone's welcome club. No one gets excluded. Not even the most darkest shadow conspiracy, most evil person on the planet. Who's the most evil person you can think of on the planet? Trump? Well, that's interesting. I wouldn't call him the most evil, but I would say maybe George Bush and his cronies, Dick Cheney. I would even go so far as to say some of the highest global elites whose names we don't know. Many of them are hanging around even the Roman Catholic Church, I'm sorry to say. So whether or not we identify with that, believe it or perceive it, doesn't matter. They're all welcome here too. It doesn't matter. There's no judgment here. There's all forgiveness, love, and acceptance. And we know that the only way they can anchor into this reality is for them to align with these vibrations too. So everyone's fine. It's all good. It's all well. Does this make sense? There's no judgment or wrongness on 3D. It's just an experience we all came to have in separation, in physical form. Make sense? Everyone with me on this?
Yes.
Okay, do I have any questions? Comments? Feedback?
Yeah, I want to know, what do you recommend?
Yes. Okay, let's go to the first thing. Thank you. So let's go to DNA. What's going on with the DNA?
Activating.
Yeah, activating the DNA. So let's talk about that. That is what I recommend. Number one of the first things. Well, even before DNA, let's just go to this. Intention. So I'm going to give you one of the best gifts you may ever get in your whole life right now. Ready? Every day, whenever you think of it, as often as you can, but not like obsessively, continue to affirm that you desire and intend and choose to align yourself with the highest and best life trajectory for you. Easy. It's really easy. When you intend that, your power of intention is so powerful. If you just keep affirming, I intend to align myself with the highest and best life trajectory for me, and I would add, in the most benevolent ways possible, you will suddenly find yourself more and more, faster and faster, being elevated and anchored into 5D, because that's the highest and best trajectory for you, for all of us. That's where all of humanity is going. So if you intend it, the universe finds ways to do. It just jostles you. It's not just the universe, it's your own higher self, your own higher consciousness. That's what you came here for at this time. Make sense? Just by saying that, the universe is like, oh, free will is intact. Free will just said to do it. I get to follow the free will. That's the first thing. Okay, let's come back to the DNA. Does that make sense? Is that helpful? You guys will be amazed how much that helps you. I intend,
Is it written somewhere? 'Cause I don't have a.
well, it's going to be on the video and the audio. I intend to align myself, I would even say 100%, with my highest and best trajectory. Soul's trajectory, you could say. My highest and best journey for me and my body and my being in the most benevolent ways possible. You definitely want the benevolence. You don't need a car crash to just tell you you're going in the wrong direction. You know what I mean? Like, you want benevolence. Okay. All right, so let's go to the DNA. So here's the thing. In 3D, how many strands of DNA does a human have? 2. And what goes on with those 2 strands of DNA? Yeah, well, they're limiting us. So the first 2 strands of DNA are basically in 3D. We're told they're your ancestors, your heritage. You're kind of stuck with them, right? I can't see that. Is it 10 minutes? Thank you. You're stuck with those DNA. You might be you are a victim. If there's breast cancer in your family, you better slash off your breasts. Do you know what I mean? If there's diabetes, you better get yourself on a pill that's going to control you for the rest of your life, right? If there's kidney failure, you might need to prepare to give a kidney to someone or lose a kidney. These are your victim here in 3D. You're all of us of what is written into our DNA. Make sense? And you only have 2 strands, and there's basically not much you can do. Who knows who Bruce Lipton is? Anyone? Okay. So in 4D, people start waking up. Ah, you mean my DNA will only get activated, those first 2 strands of things, if I actually turn them on with my thoughts and emotions. Bruce Lipton's an amazing teacher of this. We start realizing we actually have some power based on how we think and feel. Because if we're thinking higher, lighter thoughts and feeling higher, lighter thoughts, won't actually activate that crappy DNA. That's helpful, right? It's pretty helpful. So we start realizing we're not total victims and we have some power. And then we get into law of attraction, right? Let's just only think positive. Only positive. I won't have any negative. No negative. Now we get into a loop, another loop here. Resist, react, judge. That's negative, no good. That's negative, only one positive. But now you're stuck here because you can't go to the higher realm of 5D because you're now in a struggle with only positive. Make sense? Okay, how do you activate the rest of the DNA? There's actually, from over here in 5D, at least 10 more strands of DNA. Science has actually proven that. They just over in 3D mostly think it's junk or unimportant or, leading edge scientists know it's dormant and it can be activated, right? Everyone with me on this? Mm-hmm. But we need to activate it. We don't know how. Over here in 5D, you actually have at least 144, 244, 333 or more strands of DNA. Of course, over here they have no idea about it because it's etheric. Beyond the first 2 strands, it's not physical. You have to access it etherically. It's a non-physical kind of DNA. It's energetic frequencies. Make sense? But let's just go back to the first 2 strands. This is the first 2 strands of DNA. It's actually storing up the information from your ancestors. In other words, it's storing up the lies and the truths that we've been told from generation to generation. Make sense? So if you were told from your ancestors and your ancestors' ancestors, breast cancer runs in our family, you better be afraid of breast cancer. If you took that on as truth, it would register in the DNA. That's all. All it is you believe something you were told. That's really the higher truth, but of course they don't know that unless they're in 5D. So all that means to start the first 2 strands of DNA to get to 5D, part of what we want to do is clear out those lies. Because you don't have to have breast cancer or anything else just because someone in your ancestry had it. That was linked into beliefs and thoughts. Anyone going to be here tomorrow?
Yeah.
Come to my presentation tomorrow. I'm going to do the root cause of every illness and the cure. Guaranteed. But in any case, if you start realizing that these are patterns of thinking and believing from generation to generation, that the DNA is just a record keeper, that's the first 2 strands, you can start clearing out those beliefs, changing them on the energetic level. Now you're no longer anchored. Is this making sense? Yeah? You're no longer anchored into this, so the DNA, the first 2 strands, get really clear and clean. This is part of how we open up all of our gifts. We become healers, we become psychics, we become animal communicators, we become energy workers, sound vibrational beings, because it's so clear in us we can carry higher light of information. Make sense? It's only the first 2 strands. What are the other 10 strands good for? The other 10 strands are access, like gateways or portals, to other dimensions of reality. So the first things that start getting awoken after you get through those first 2 strands, because the first 2 strands is, I'm stuck in here, I'm blocked, I'm a victim of my world, I need someone outside of me to fix me or make me better. I'm broke, I'm poor, I'm homeless, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough gas, I don't have enough this, I don't have enough that, I don't have enough energy. You with me, right? So you clean out those first 2 strands and suddenly that's not true anymore. You start realizing you're like superhuman abilities. You start realizing everyone's psychic. You start realizing everyone can do these amazing things and you can do them too. Make sense? So the other next 10 strands become about activating your superhuman abilities. But where do they exist? Where do they exist? In the higher dimensional realms. If you want to really, really work with angels, I mean, not just call them in like you think they're there, but like know that they're there and have like apparitions and experiences one-on-one, you need to connect to a 6-dimensional reality. That's where angels live. If you want to work with universal laws, anyone know about the laws, universal laws? Wow, I wish I had more time. Universal laws are operating. They're operating here in 3D, but nobody even knows they exist. Cause and effect, universal law. If I drop this, it will fall. Cause and effect. If I hate someone, they will hate me back. There will be more hate in the world. Universal law. Those are cause-effect. That's just one law of many. You have to know the laws. But they exist on a 6th, 7th dimensional plane. You won't even know the universal laws until you start awakening the dormant DNA so that you can access that dimension of frequency. I actually have the universal law of truth works with me all the time. All the time. If someone's lying, a lot of times my mouth will just be like, yeah, that's not true. And I might even trigger them because the universal law is not taking care of people's egos. It's literally just telling you the truth. It's a law of truth. There's the law of free will. Over here, you don't really know if you have it. Is free will real? Isn't it real? Do we have any free will? You don't really, because if you don't follow the laws by the global elites and the agendas that are set, these outside authorities, you don't have a ton of free will here. Your soul has a mission. Your soul has a contract. You're searching for it. You're trying to figure it out. You don't know. Over here, all kinds of free will opens up to you. But the free will you have is to be of service to Source and the greater good of all. That's what you start using. Anyway, there's these universal laws, but they exist on the 6th and 7th dimensional planes. Does that make sense? Beyond that, when you start getting to 8th and 9th dimensional planes, you start having interactions with extraterrestrials, like real ones. Not just in the physical world where they're like aggressive and malevolent. Over here, they're all benevolent. So you start interacting with them. You start traveling to other planets and consciousness and having all kinds of esoteric experiences that you can never explain to anybody. But it's because you activated enough of the DNA. Make sense? Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay. Long answer. All right, I wish I had more time. So I'm going to, I still have a good, maybe 10, I could probably pull off 10 minutes because I always push it. So, but does anyone have any questions? No, you guys are so quiet. I love questions. Comments, feedback, anything you want to share?
No, it's just really interesting.
What's the ultimate goal
The ultimate goal is to reunify with the divine source of infinite love without losing your body, isn't it? I mean, maybe for some people they actually do. They're ready to drop their body, and that's okay. And then they might reincarnate as a planet or a star or a being in some other galaxy or some other universe. It's infinite. Let me tell you what I am the most good at. I love working with animals. I love animal communication. I love doing healing. I love doing psychic readings. I love it all. But the thing I love most, I love activating people's DNA for them and helping them to activate their dormant potential. But the thing I love most is accessing information that is unknown. And when I say information, I just don't mean just analytical information. I mean energetic frequencies and vibrations and consciousness that's unknown. Because we've learned everything there is to learn. I mean, this over here in this third dimensional reality, you're basically reading a book that somebody else read a book that they took from someone else and regurgitated it. It's the same. But over here, what is the ultimate goal? To align with source. So for me, I get to access information, energy, and various states of consciousness from the unknown realm that is completely unknown to humanity. It's unknown. Like in my Exiting the Matrix class, we have started out clearing all of our aging programs, death imprints, death implants, alien implants that keep us stuck in this disease cycle. You can clear them out. There are programs operating in our mind, in our emotions, our unconscious, our conscious, throughout our physiology, cellular memory stored up in our cells that's telling us to age, to get sick, to be afraid. We don't even know it's there. I didn't even know it was there until I started asking and finding out how do we pull this? How do we clear this? How do we change this for the better? You can change it from your cellular memory. It's not that hard to do. It's just humans have to open up that this possibility exists. So when you ask me what's the ultimate goal, to me, the ultimate goal is to align with source as best as I can, still keep my embodiment, live my life as if it is the most joyful, fabulous life, fall in love with my life, and use everything that I have to be of service to the greater good, to the collective, and to the divine source of infinite love, infinite consciousness, in the highest and best ways I can. To me, that's what it is. But to you, it might be something else. I can tell you it's about anchoring into divine source consciousness, for sure. So, all right. I want to tell you a couple things because I know it's getting time to wrap up. First, if you haven't already signed your name on the email address, you will get tons of free gifts. If you want to learn more about fifth dimensional reality, this is just scratching the surface. Think, if we've had 26,000 years of existence and all of eternity, we have existed for eternity. What is eternity? What is infinity? That is what we're undoing, resolving, clearing, realigning with the truth of who we are, which is God beings, incarnate, right, in form. That doesn't happen in an hour or 45 minutes. That's not like, oh, take this pill and everything will be okay. Have Claritin and you'll get clear. It's just not like that. It takes a lot of inner work, healing, resolving. It's beautiful, it's joyful, it's not painful. Energy work is so easy and effortless, but it's not an overnight fix. This whole concept of like a miracle is like, oh, you're on a wheelchair, some minister puts his hand on you and you stand up, hallelujah. That is just another deceit. That's not how miracle healings work. Miracle healings work through the inner work, the inner journey. So, in any case, what I would like to say is if you would like to know more, if you give me your email address, I will give you the most amazing, incredible 3-hour class on fifth dimensional living and what that means, as well as vibrating in harmony with the fifth dimension and beyond. So as long as, did we get everyone's email address? Yeah? Okay, good. The other thing I will tell you is, I'm off camera here. If you would like to know, you guys are so quiet. I usually, in LA, I can't answer all the questions. They just keep firing them at me. Okay, so if you would like some more free gifts, this is a great, you can go to lauriespagna.com/free gifts. There's more free gifts that are just automated. They'll be automated sent to you. lauriespagna.com/free gifts. If you would like to get more of this, you can come to the Sacred Membership. It's a year-long membership with hundreds of hours of content, DNA activations, sacred energy activations, dormant activations from within us, clearings and healings from the cellular memory, attunements, alignments, all that stuff that we just don't really have time to go into here. Anyway, it's a year-long access, and that's the sacred membership. And there's even a coupon code you can use for $100 off. It's Sacred7. You can get this flyer. And then if you want to know more about the classes I teach, if you guys have questions, I'll take them. But while I'm saying, since I have a few more minutes, the classes I teach, online classes, include tons of stuff on animals, animal communication, telepathy, energy healing, and also ascension, awakening, exiting the matrix, dark arts training, all that stuff. Make sense?
And are you local or?
I am local, but most of my classes, oh, you know what, thank you. Let me tell you this. I just am about to start doing, I would invite you guys all to this. This is so good. In Jupiter, Florida is Unity, the Unity Church. Do you guys know about Unity? Okay, on the 9th of this month, the second Friday of March is what I should say. I'm doing a gifted healing. It will be 3 hours of healing. You guys will love it. So if you're able to come, I'm going to be doing that hopefully once a month. This is the first kickoff month, the 9th, and it'll be incredible healing. We do meditation and we do light worker, and it's all just donations go 100% to Unity Church. So I'd invite you to join me for that. And if you're on my newsletter, you will definitely learn about that. I'll let you know. Because really, this is just 45 minutes. We don't have enough time for you to really experience it. But once you start experiencing this kind of energy, this kind of love, this kind of transformation, it's so incredibly profound. It's like the solution that everyone is looking for, but nobody knows it. Do you know what I mean? When you find that and you get into that state of just so much euphoric, just joy, and you start realizing that something just turned the lights on for you that's going to change your life forever for the better, that the way you live and the way you share yourself and your life experience with everyone will be just so forever transformed. Just by, that is a miracle healing. Because you go in something as simple as like a meditation. You have, Stephanie, do you want to share something that happened with you?
I would love to. So I went to a meditation with Lori, and I thought it was like 20 minutes, and we came out of the meditation, and it was like, I don't know, how long was it, like 2 hours? It was like 2 hours, and I thought it was like 20 minutes. I'm like, oh my gosh. And nothing really felt really different that night, except I couldn't believe the time change, like how long it was, and it wasn't. And after that, I noticed that I was much more awakened. It really, I got awakened, and she did that for me. She helped me. She did that, the DNA activation, and my spiritual awakening and my processes have fast forwarded to where I can't even believe how quickly things are happening that are pushing me forward into my gifts and being able to realize how gifted I really am, and I had no idea. And so really I was awakened.
Yeah.
It was wonderful, it was beautiful, and I'm so grateful.
Oh,
so
that makes
grateful.
me so happy.
We're happy
Yeah.
for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you know, because we don't really realize what's dormant lying within us. So for example, one of the things that we activate I do these speed activations calls where we're doing sacred activations, awakening dormant potential. Within every human and every animal exists an original divine blueprint. That original divine blueprint is for perfect and ideal health and well-being, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Now, when you activate that within you, it doesn't happen overnight. It's not like you stand up from a wheelchair and go, hallelujah. Suddenly time passes, and suddenly you start to be transformed. You're like, wow, I'm not the same person I was. I'm so much healthier. I'm so much happier. I have so much more energy. I'm so much more vital. I have so much more youth and vitality. I think I'm age reversing. Like I supposedly should be getting some grays, but I'm not. Like, what is going on? My father's like, my father doesn't know how much work I do on him energetically. He's almost 85. He still jogs every other day. He's running a corporation, you know, like I think it's okay to say, he's like $1 million corporation. He's 85 years old, still jogging every day, flying back and forth between New York and Florida every day. My mother's playing tennis, and you know, she plays paddle like every day. These people, they look so young. They are like freaking out because all their friends are aging and passing away, but they're not aging. What is going on? They're not getting older, they're getting younger. So we have the ability to actually do this for our family and our loved ones, but we have to activate enough within us. So I'll tell you a couple of amazing things that have happened just in some of my clients. One of my clients came to me and she had gone to the doctor. They were scheduling her for a full hysterectomy. This was 5 weeks in advance of her calling me. She called me up. We did 3 sessions. She actually has a testimonial online about this. And after the 3rd session, she went to the doctor for the pre-op, and the doctor said, "What did you do? There is nothing. You see ya. Come back for a checkup in another 6 months, but you're clean and free. No hysterectomy." How does that happen in 3 weeks? 3 weeks. I had another client who had Parkinson's, and she couldn't stand up from the couch without falling back over. So we did several weeks of healing together, clearing out the cellular memory. The cellular memory is telling information to the body, right? The brain, the unconscious, it's telling information. It's saying, you have Parkinson's, you can't stand up, there's a shortage of L-DOPA, etc. When we clear all that, we heal all that, within 7 weeks, she was able to get on a plane, fly across country, and move her daughter into college, and travel 7 blocks with a walker, okay, but still. She really didn't feel like she needed her pharmaceuticals anymore. She started taking supplements. The whole thing was shifting and changing. Her whole experience. That's amazing, right? Okay, I give one more. I know I gotta wrap up. One more is that I had this dog. This woman called me with this dog who, they had an accident while hiking. She took the dog to the emergency vet. The dog had to have, they thought the dog might die. They might have to amputate the leg. And she calls me for an emergency session. We do an emergency session, and the next day she calls me and she's like, okay, the vet said he's not gonna die and they don't have to amputate, but now the vet has to keep the dog for a whole week. I can't afford it. So she does another emergency session. We do all kinds of healing. I'm wrapping up, this is my last thing. Emergency healing. The next day she calls me, she goes, the vet said he'll give me the whole week for free. The dog has healed so fast, he doesn't know what to do, he just wants to observe him. Can you believe it? All right, you guys, I want to thank you so much because my time is up. Please go to LoriSpagna.com. Stay in touch with me and look for the emails. We'll send it to you.